All right, so when it comes to focusing, I know that it's a pain in the butt for a lot of you to constantly keep doing that because it requires your attention to be focused and concentrated on something. But we typically find this to be a pain in the butt because we only decide to focus when we have to. For example, let's say you have a test the next day and you haven't studied for the exam. You're going to cram and try your best to focus as much as you possibly can on that material in order to do well on the exam tomorrow, or you have a deadline for an assignment at work, you're doing your best to concentrate. But the problem is, and this works for some people, but it's not the most ideal way, is you're operating under stress. But what if there was a way to learn how to concentrate and focus, ideally, in your day-to-day life without it seeming like a hassle? So when it is time to focus for something that is more serious, you have trained your mind to think that way. So I want to give you guys 3 fun ways on how to do this just in your day-to-day life. These are all things that we do if you're human, which if you're watching this, I know you're human. So you will find this to be exciting and fun in a way. So the first way is when you are having a conversation with someone, just about anything, make sure to be aware that you are constantly focused on what the other person is saying. There's times when you're having a conversation with someone and your mind drifts, okay? That happens. And you're not retaining everything that's being said. I want you to consistently keep shifting your focus back to what the conversation is. Your mind's going here, the person in the conversation's here. I want you to keep bringing it back. Train yourself that way, because when you do this, you'll be more invested into what is being said. Focus is all about being immersed in what is going on. So if you were able to constantly keep doing this, then when the person is talking to you, you will have the ability to ask informed questions back if there is something that you have to ask, or you will see yourself feel happier naturally because you understand what is going on. I've just experienced this. I was downstairs grabbing coffee right now. I had the conversation with the guy that I always see by the coffee area. And we were just talking about life and just how people are so fixated on just money, and, they forget about people that they were with, and talking about how a lot of people love to party. And then I learned about his work. He learned about what I did. And it was a great conversation and it was very enjoyable. But the reason for that was because I was very focused on what he was saying. So I want you guys to do that. That'll be one way to help practice your focus. The second way is when you're watching a movie. I want you guys to start fully attending and be focused on what is being said in the movie. And I know that sounds kind of crazy, but a lot of us are passive participants when we're watching movies. So we say we don't like what's going on. We don't like the movie that's going on because maybe there's a scene or two that may not be as interesting. But those are the times I really want you to start being an active participant and focus on what is being said in the dialogue of the movie, because this will allow you to consistently train your mind to focus. And one point I also wanted to make as I'm going through these points is that when you consistently catch yourself in your mind drifting and you bring your attention back to what it is that you're doing in this very moment, neurons are firing off in your brain and connections are being made with your neurons throughout this process called synapses. That is essentially what we think us becoming smarter. All we're doing is we're just creating new neural pathways in our brain to essentially be able to have the ability to focus more often, consistently, and for longer periods of time. That's all we're trying to do here. So when you're watching movies, even if someone had, if you're watching a movie at home, let's say Netflix, and someone has to use the bathroom, don't go on your phone. I want you to sit there with your thoughts alone and fully focus on watching that movie until it's all the way done. No phone distractions, no other distractions. Just consistently keep doing that, because we all watch movies, right? So this will help you also just be immersed into the movie more, and eventually your focus is going to increase as well. Now, the last thing is listening to music. So typically, I feel like we listen to music in the car, right? Or if you're maybe at the gym, those are the two most common places. But when you are listening to music, And I'm specifically talking about music with lyrics. I'm very much into hip hop and rap, so I want you to focus as much as you can on what lyrics are being said. And the reason for this is because I want you to concentrate. We're very passive when it comes to listening to music. Typically in hip hop rap right now, I feel like it's all about the beat and how sonically pleasing it is, and lyrics are kind of just an afterthought. But I grew up in a generation of like lyrics being part of the music and being the forefront of a song. But I think that's important because what you'll start to notice is you understand that person or that artist more and where they're coming from when you're focused on what words are being said rather than how something always sounds. Now, how something sounds is important, but in terms of, we're talking about focus here, consistently try to understand every single word that's being said and even why it's being said. And I do this, and what I've noticed is when I do this is that I feel more energized or motivated because I typically listen to songs that kind of have that sort of direction with it, if you will, in terms of this is like trying to motivate me. This is a song that this person had this upbringing, this background, but here's where he's at now. And I like that personally. So I think when you do that, when you do that, you'll notice your focus continuing to grow because you're training it, in these 3 ways. And one other small point I want to make is if you are into like house music, sure, there's no lyrics typically. And if there are, there's just small parts, but maybe focus on why you like that song. Listen to the drum patterns maybe, or listen to the drop. Okay. Like, is that what's reeling you into that song? Like really analyze the music and focus on whatever it is that you think will help you focus more. So these are 3 ways, okay? And what you'll start to notice is after you practice these 3 fun ways of focusing, now when it is time to focus on something you necessarily don't want to do, let's say like I mentioned earlier in the video, you have you're studying for an exam for school, you have a deadline for a project at work, or you're starting up a new project at work, or you're trying to read the news and understand what's going on, you'll notice your ability to focus is a lot easier because you have been training yourself without it necessarily being a burden to train yourself to focus. So I hope you guys like this video. I've been practicing this for some time now, and I've seen a huge difference in my ability to focus and retain whatever it is that I'm learning, because when you're focused, you're also able to retain more. You're also more able to get more out of the experience. Things may not seem exciting initially, but that's because you're just not really concentrating on what you're doing. Your mind is everywhere. When you're really just dedicated to one thing, you'll start to notice yourself enjoy that process better as well. So anyways, yeah, I hope you guys like this video. Like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. Share with whoever needs to hear this. And I'll see you on the next one.